Hello and welcome back to Elden Ring. This is part 18 of the run where we prepare for the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. In this run we will go through every weapon, shield, armor set, talisman, spirit ash, physic tier, and cookbook that you'll need no matter what build you're creating. And last time we went through the shaded castle, and here we are starting at the abandoned coffin because we are going through Altus Plateau. Now you can start at Altus Plateau, though I find it a bit better to start here. So heading off to the left here, we can make our way down this path. And on the way, there's a scarab that gets you the Ash of War Sacred Order. And then, coming up here, there's some ruins. The Perfumer's Ruins. And killing this enemy gets you the Omen Killer set, though notably missing the headpiece. And continuing on, there are lots of these little flower enemies. There's lots of Altus Bloom, which are a crafting item, though here there's a perfume bottle, and here in this chest is Perfumer's Cookbook 1, which gets you the Spark and Uplifting Aromatics, which don't fit the playstyle that I'm going for, or the build that I'm going for, and so I'm not going to pick them up, though they are good enough to warrant a mention. And then here, there's a perfume bottle, which you need to craft those aromatics. Then in here, there's a chest with a talisman, the Perfumer's Talisman. And this just raises the potency of those items. Then we can continue down and we can head out of these ruins, and it should be pretty easy to spot this giant lake area. And there are these trees in one of the corners, and that's going to be our destination, because hidden behind this patch of trees is actually a cave. And I'm not going to be going through this cave in this part, though inside there is a weapon and an armor set, and it is a pretty nice looking armor set, which can also increase the power of jumping attacks. If you're familiar with Bloodborne, it looks pretty similar, at least the chest piece does, to the Crow Feather set. So if you think that would look good, you might want to go for it. For the sake of time, I'm going to skip it, and I'm just going to continue on. We're here, by the Site of Grace, is a Smithing Stone 5. And then continuing upwards, by this carriage, there is the Ruler's Armor set. There's a dragon there, kinda hard to miss. though killing them doesn't actually get you any rewards, and so I wouldn't bother doing it. And here, all over the place, you can get the golden Roa, which you may want to pick up, especially if you're someone who creates the crafting items for your horse to give them more health back. Now, over here, there's a golden seed, and over here, there's typically an NPC that can take you off to a different area. If you want to do that, you can. Though, continuing on, here is Millicent.
Ah, in truth, is Scarlet as such, though rather I realized I could have ate.
So, if you did the Shaded Castle, you should have gotten Valkyrie's prosthesis to give to her.
Are you giving me the... I think it might be perhaps...
And that will let you continue on her quest. And then we can head up here, where there's going to be a few things of note. The first, the Beast Eye Quivers, because there's a Tibia Mariner, and this is probably the hardest Tibia Mariner in the game because of that giant skeleton that they spawn. Though, while they do occasionally swing, as you can see there, they don't do a whole lot of damage. Like, if you watch the last part with the Shaded Castle, you'll know that normal enemies in Depraved Perfumers do more damage and attack much faster than that. So, this is the most dangerous Tibia Mariner. That doesn't exactly make them very dangerous. And taking them out gets you another death root to give to Grank. And then over here, hidden in this corner, is a Smithing Stone 5. And then if you head northwest over here, then you'll get the pop-up for Met Gilmere and a Site of Grace. Though, we're not going to do Met Gilmere in this part, just because the main Altus Plateau is so large. And so, we're going to let that be its own video. And in these ruins, there are some items sprinkled about, as you can see, though nothing super special. So instead of focusing on getting all the items, I'll pick a few up if they're on the way, though I'll mainly focus on just continuing to make progress. And here, there's a stone sword key door, and opening that up will get you one of the defensive talismans. The Drake ones. And so, if you're interested in that, you can do that, or you can continue on. I'm only really going to point out the +2 versions since they're the strongest versions, though. Here is the Windham Catacombs, and there's nothing important here until you get to this portion, where there's a stone sword key door, and opening this up will get you access to the Lightning Scorpion Charm. This is a talisman that increases your lightning damage at the cost of taking extra damage. So if you do a lot of lightning damage, good to get that. And then that elevator we took up, you want to send that up and then go below it, which will then put you into this section. where there's going to be 2 giant crabs. And if you want to fight them legit, you can. Or if you want to send down the Wrath of Zeus, that also works quite well. And upon bringing them down, you get safe access to this item, the Ancient Dragon Cookbook 1. And this will allow you to craft lightning grease and lightning arrows. Now, lightning grease requires 1 root resin and 1 fulgur bloom, which both of these can be picked up very easily. And so it's one of the easiest things to make in terms of crafting items, and it also applies the lightning damage, which is one of the best, if not the best damage type in Elden Ring, making it one of the best items for you to craft in the entire game. So definitely worth getting, at least in my opinion. And from there, you can just head up and out. If you want to fight the boss, you can. If not, you can keep running by. We mainly just came here for the talisman and the cookbook. From there, we can head back to Erdtree Grazing Hill. This is the site of grace right before Millicent. And from there, we can head down the hill. And you may notice these like spiked fort areas. We're gonna go through a few of these. And there is an area off to the left, the one that heads towards Shaded Castle, and there are a few things there. And if you want to go do that, you definitely can. I kind of forgot about it at the time, though I did remember to do it near the end of this recording, so while you're here, that's something that you can go do. Either way, I will get to it eventually. So for now, we can just make our way around to here, taking out all of the ballista enemies, so that way we can safely come in here without getting shot. And in there you can get Troll's Golden Sword, a Strength Dexterity Colossal Sword. And then on the other side, there's another carriage. And going over here and opening this chest gets you the Great Shield Talisman. This boosts your guarding ability, which I believe got a balance change at some point, making it better for small and medium shields, though worse for great shields. So take that into account. But from there you can head southeast, past the jellyfish, past those enemies, and over to this Everjail. And it requires a stone sword key. So whether that's worth it or not is up to your personal build and playstyle. Though I will show you that defeating the boss, which is basically Godric, will get you the God-free icon, along with 26,000 runes. And what the God-free icon does is enhances charge spells and skills. And from there, we can head to the Altus Plateau site of grace. You can also go to the Erdtree grazing hill if you want, though you mostly just want to go there if you don't have the Altus Plateau site of grace, since this one is closer. If you're not sure where to get the site of grace, right down there are the jellyfish that we passed to go to the boss. So you just want to head through the spiked forts and head up and then to the right to get the Altus Plateau site of grace. Or you can take both halves of the Dectus medallion. Either way works. And at nighttime there's a Knight's Cavalry here. If you want to fight them you can. Though you just want to take the main path until you can head off to the left, where you will quickly find a site of grace. Then you can hop on your horse and head back down this branching off path, where there's a golden seed, and heading down here, near these two enemies, is a perfume bottle. And then we can once again head back onto the main path, where you'll find the NPC Corrin and the map for Altus Plateau, and then you can once again head off the path, taking these drops down. We will get to Corrin soon. We're just going to do this first. And as you can see, after a few drops, you should get to this crumbling church. And it's a good idea to take out the dogs first before heading into the second Church America. This has a sacred tier, and if you've been doing his quest up to this point, the NPC Yura. Talking to him will lead to his death and get you the Naga Kiba. And from here, you should get prepared, as there is an NPC invader. And they have some dragon incantations, which are very powerful. As you can see, that one is an AoE that does damage and knocks you back. And they also have a fast weapon with a unique skill that does fire damage. And just like most NPC fights in Elden Ring, they are completely swamped with all sorts of input readers. Though, you swing enough and they'll go down, getting you the Purifying Crystal tier and Eleanor's Pole Blade. Eleanor's Pole Blade is a Dexterity Arcane twin blade with a unique skill, physical and fire damage, and blood loss buildup. From there, we can once again head to the Highway Junction site of grace. This is the one we got slightly before Corrin. And unlike the last time we went through here, we're actually going to stay on the path this time. So we can head up, and if you want, you can talk to Corrin, though you're going to talk to him in a short while, so might be good to just keep on moving, as we will come back to him a third time pretty quickly. And on the side of the road, you may notice some Lanedale soldiers. And I would suggest killing them, because as you can see here, I got a smithing stone 4, which dropped from a basic soldier is pretty good. And then here, there's a merchant, which we can talk to.
Oh, are you here as a...
He sells some stone sword keys, the Ancient Dragon Cookbook 2, which gives you lightning pots, which are quite good, along with 3 shields. This one right here, the Cross Tree Tower Shield, is quite good, along with a chest piece.
Oh, I'm afraid.
Now, that Great Shield we just purchased, as you can see, it's significantly better than the one we have. Mainly having 7 higher guard boost. It is one of the best shields in Elden Ring, and I would suggest picking it up. Then there's a set of grace and a teleporter. And in case you didn't notice, that was the beginning of a bridge. Though the bridge was broken, the teleporter brings you to the other side of the broken bridge. And if you turn around and try to ride across, then you'll quickly see that, yep, the bridge is broken, and here there's an NPC. While they don't say anything, it is important to talk to them for Corrin's quest. And from there you can ride forward and then off to the side, because off to the side of the main path is this enemy. This is a battle mage. They are quite similar to the Rhine-Lucarian mages, though a bit different. Mainly, this one specifically drops the Battle Mage armor set. And then from there you can head down the pathway a tiny bit before turning left towards this windmill. And this gets you the Noble set and the Twinned Knight's swords. This is a strength-based twin sword. And then you can continue on down the path for a little bit longer. Until you can take a left up into this village. And there's a set of grace right at the beginning, and then a very straightforward path up to the top. There are some items sprinkled throughout here, though outside of this rune arc, there's nothing special. So we're just going to continue on up all the way to the top. And if you gave Millicent the Valkyrie's prosthesis, then she'll be available to summon here. And whether you summon her or not is entirely up to you. There is a boss coming up. They're not very difficult, though I enjoy summoning her as it fits with her quest line. Though again, whether you want to do that or not is entirely up to you. So moving forward, up at the top of this hill, you will see the boss. This is the same boss that you fought in the Divine Tower of Caelid in Dragon Barrow, though this one is thankfully much easier. And bringing them down, you get the Godskin Peeler and Scouring Black Flame. The Godskin Peeler is a dexterity twin blade with a powerful skill. Though, the main reason, or at least half the reason we killed them, was for Millicent here.
Ah, the arm you it feels. Perhaps it is us. I would have it is the
And after talking to them, you can head back to the Windmill Village. You can run down, though teleporting back is faster. And from there, you can just head straight down through these buildings, and you can continue following this pathway. Until you get to this golden seed, which you can pick up, and then you can take a hard left and make your way into the trees. Now, as you can see here, it's nighttime, and it is quite dark. And here there's the actual war for Golden Slam, though you may find it easy to get a bit lost if you're coming here at nighttime. And as you can see, there are some Deathblight enemies. Now, whether you want to interpret that as an educational thing of me saying, hey, maybe wait until morning so you have light, and also watch out for Deathblight, or whether you want to take that as the reality of me checking my notes, you can interpret that the way you will. Either way, you want to grab these as they do stack. And then, once again, you can head off to the left, or you can just not check your notes and die. That's an option. Though, as I said, take a hard left where you will fairly quickly find this piece of ruin, which holds the Icon Shield. And then you can continue on. And you may have noticed that I didn't show off the Nagakiba or the Icon Shield because there were enemies close by. And I kind of forgot about them. Though, I will come back to it later, as I will remember it later. For now, you can just continue moving forward, where you should eventually find this. There's a group of those Deathblight enemies, and some stairs heading downward. And down here, in this chest, is the incantation Wrath of Gold. This is Wrath of the Gods from Dark Souls. And for Faith users, it is one of the best incantations in the game. And around here, there's also a crafting item. It is a stronger version of the Roa Raisin, though I'm not going to be getting it. It's good enough to mention, but just like the Pearl Drake Talismans, I'm not going to get it myself, because there's a stronger version later down the line. Though here, if you continue following the wall, eventually you should find this cave. If you can't find it, look on the map, as it does show up on the map. And heading down, you can see that it is Altus Tunnel. And I'm not going to go through all of this, so I'm just going to show that we have 20 smithing stone 5s. So you can take note of that. And beating the boss, you're granted with 9,000 runes and Somberstone Miner's Bell Bearing 2, which allows you to purchase Somberstones 3 and 4. And we have 26 smithing stone 5s, an increase of 6. So that's enough for half of a weapon, since it requires 12 total. Then we can take the teleporter back out, and the next goal is going to be that minor Erdtree. Now, I should give a small disclaimer before heading on into there. I hope that gives you the information that you need as to what we're going to find there. So, we're just going to drop down and make our way over. And this is very close to the cookbook I mentioned, by the way. Though, it's also very close to the boss. Now, most minor Erdtrees have an Erdtree avatar as their boss. You may not notice the Erdtree avatar, and there's a reason for that. You see, this one is a bit special. It has a worm face, and upon defeating them, you are granted 10,000 runes, the Crimson Spill Crystal tier, and the Speckled Hard tier. Now, the Crimson Spill Crystal tier boosts your max HP, which isn't that good, but the Speckled Hard tier heals all status. And so, whether you're dealing with poison, rot, death blight, if you have that in your physic tier, then you can get rid of it once, pretty much for free. No boluses, nothing that requires FP. You're good. And from there, we can head either back to Windmill Village or to the highway junction. Which you might think that it's weird that you can go to either of these locations for our next destination. Which, admittedly, it does sound weird, because they are very far away from each other. Though, I promise it will make sense. Though, I tend to go to the junction, since you can talk to Corin.
Ah, how delightful. I've been doing and will have to from your of course less than to you two.
And after telling him about Gold Mask, you can be on your way. Though he can also sell Great Heal, which only takes 15 faith. Not much more than the 12 required for normal heal.
May the golden.
And if Corin isn't here for you, then you may want to head back to the Round Table Hold and speak to him there, because then he should show up. Though, teleporting here, we can now take this teleporter to make it to the end of the bridge. And we can then turn around and head back over to Gold Mask, where you may see that he now has a companion. So, you can talk to Corin when he's here.
Ah, thanks to you, and taken my. Have no fear, though we must do the master while I friend. Though I know that the golden.
And with him being here, he now sells a discus of light.
May the go.
Though this is more so just to continue on his quest. And then from here, we can jump down into this wind tunnel and then jump back up to get under the bridge, where here there's a site of grace. And if you started from the windmill village, if you went down and then to the right, you would end up here. Which is why I say you can start from either, though I start from the highway junction for Corin. And then over here, you can get Protection of the Erdtree. This is an incantation that increases affinity damage negation. So more defensive styled players may enjoy that. Now here, you want to head off to the Rose Church. And if you've done Vari's quest up to this point, then you should be good. Though, there's nothing wrong with double checking just in case. And you can see the site of grace I used on the map, which is the best, as you can head straight west and you're very quickly here.
Be sure I'm quite certain.
Once you have that dialogue, then you should know that you're at the right place in terms of his quest. And if you know you're there, then you don't have to go back. You can simply head forward from here, where there will be this larger group of enemies. And don't get skewered, as that is not typically good for your health. Though, you can just either run by or take out this group of enemies. Either way works. Though, leaving them alive does run the risk of them chasing after you, and that's not something that I wanted to risk while heading through here. And again, the soldiers can drop smithing stones. Now here, you can smack the troll, and that gets them to stop and allows you to open this chest to get the weapon Great Stars. And at the time we're recording this, a certain Irish YouTuber, very big, dropped the entire full game of Elden Ring, and he had some problems with that, so not expecting him to watch this, but if you watched that and thought that he was having a hard time, then hopefully that'll give you the knowledge to have an easier time on that encounter. And here, we are in the Rye the Blood Ruins, where there's a ton of dogs, and an invasion. And each one of these invasions requires a Festering Bloody Finger, which is a consumable item. So make sure that you're coming in prepared. And just like pretty much every other NPC fight in Elden Ring, this guy is swamped in animation readers and is addicted to roll spamming. Though, as long as you can roll through the lion's claw attacks, you should bring him down without too much of an issue. Assuming you didn't come here early. Though, upon taking him out, you'll be rewarded with a second Great Stars. along with a somber smithing stone 6. And then from there, you can head over into this part of the ruins, where there are lots of sacramental buds. This is a rare crafting item, so you may want to pick these up. And again, for your own safety, you may want to take out the dogs before heading down these stairs to the boss. This is a sanguine noble, and well, I didn't show it right away. Much like a lot of other bosses and enemies, they get pretty hard-bodied by guard counters. Though, they do have these pools of blood that slow you down and build up poison. So you're gonna want to be careful of that. And even if you block the attack, you'll still get the blood loss build up. So be careful and don't attack them while they're doing that animation, as it is a parry and they're a computer, meaning they're not gonna miss time. So stay safe, and upon bringing them down, you get a handful of runes and the Bloody Hellas. Which the Bloody Hellas is a dexterity arcane heavy thrusting sword with a unique skill and blood loss buildup. And this is when I remembered the other weapons. So Nagakiba is a dexterity strength katana with blood loss buildup and a ton of range. And Great Stars, strength, dexterity, great hammers with blood loss buildup. And you may have noticed I forgot the icon shield. Again. In which case you would be correct, I did forget the icon shield again. And I'm just noticing that in the voiceover. Though, I will point it out at the end. I promise. I didn't completely forget it. So here, as you can see, smithing stone 3, so you can get multiple different smithing stones from the soldiers. And it's very good to kill them. And then up here, there's a bridge, and I turned to the left too early. So if you go right next to the bridge and then take a left, then there will be an enemy holding a chest. And that chest gets you a golden rune 10. As you can see, I turned too early and got a little confused. So, yeah. I'm not editing that out, by the way. We're keeping that one in. Though here, like I said, right next to the bridge, you take a left. Enemy with a chest, golden rune 10. And from there, you are free to head across the bridge. Heading across this bridge brings you into Met Gilmere and gets you a site of grace. And as I mentioned before, Altus Plateau is massive. And so because of that, I'm going to be giving Met Gilmere its own video just for the sake of time. Though having defeated that NPC, the one that we had to invade to kill, we can head back to this site of grace to once again talk to Vare. Though you can do PvP a few times, like invade online players, and that also works. Though, I'm showing this just as a for everyone.
Oh, I'm glad. You have a. I wish to a night luminary. So, now, for your normally, but since the blood of it.
And that gets you an item, and you need to soak it in a maiden's blood. The best place to do that is the Church of Inhibition here. In case you've forgotten, this is where you got invaded by Vike. And that's the fastest. Though, if you went to the 4 belfries and did the Chapel of Anticipation, there's also a maiden in there past the boss, which also works, in case you didn't want to deal with Vike. Though here, you can head back to Vare, and this is going to be the final time you visit him here.
Ah, you've completed, and with this, a night. Now, this. Oh, good heavens. Clench your teeth or something. Never forget that feeling of agony, for it is what binds you to Luminary Moog. You have the sweetest scream. Oh. With the power I've got, but you mustn't. The meeting must luminary. We must. One day, right, my.
And that item that you got can be used at any time to teleport you to the Mogwin Dynasty, which is a very popular area to visit. Though we're not going to be doing that this time, as this is the Altus Plateau video. So instead, we're going to head back to the Windmill Village, where we can head off to the left, and there is a safer way to go about this through the capital outskirts, as going this way can get you shot by some giant trebuchets. Though, as I said, that requires going through the capital outskirts. This isn't the capital outskirt part, and while this is more dangerous, it is a bit faster. So, here we can get a golden seed, and we can head up towards that giant opening doorway. And from here, you can head off to the left, and there's some items, there's some goodies. The main one being the Great Bow, which is a great bow, though nothing worth spending even more time going to get. Then here, there's a Site of Grace in the capital outskirts. Though, as I said, Altus Plateau is big enough. We're going to go through the capital outskirts in a different video. For now, we're just grabbing that Site of Grace just in case we die. And then we're going to head back out into the left, where we can follow this path downwards. This building off to the right, you can kill this enemy for a larval tier, though they're a bit more intimidating than the first look. So do be prepared. So there we can get a somber smithing stone 5, and we can continue on heading south. And off to the right here, there is another one of these grave sites, tombs, or whatever you want to call them, with a handful of golden runes for people who want some extra pocket change to help you out. And then from there, you can keep on moving, where you may see a set of grace. And getting this, you can level up, you can get any flask upgrades. If you didn't do those yet, and as you can see, that's a set of grace. And continuing on, here there's a patch of Fulgur Bloom. This is a crafting item required for different lightning materials, like lightning grease. And there, that structure has a boss outside of it that gives you a unique dagger that was quite popular for a time, and it also gets you access to a hero grave, and so you may find it worth heading through there. I'm not going to during this because, again, Altus Plateau is massive, and this is going to take enough time as is. Though I would recommend going through there if you have the time. Either way, here there's a stone sword key, and then if you head up and to the left, following the left side cliff, then near the top, you should see this. This only appears once you've got the painting from the Shaded Castle. And grabbing it gets you the harp bow. And from there, you can head down, and you may have noticed there's another patch of Fulgur Bloom around here. So, heading through getting these, you'll be able to make plenty of lightning grease. And then from there, you can head kind of west, maybe a bit northwest, and you may see a crumbling church off to the left. Though, you may want to get some more pocket change before heading on over there. And yeah, the rams do attack you with lightning rolls, though they aren't a big threat, so you can just run past them. Though heading down into this church, in this corner here, there's the Dragon Bolt Blessing incantation. And this is a body buff that you may find to be interesting. And then here there's a handful of gravelstone, which is a rare and unique crafting material, mostly used for dragon items. And then there's a sacred tear. And then here you can go to Altus Plateau, or you can go to the Erdtree Grazing Hill. So this is where I remembered that, oh yeah, there's the left area. So if you're less scatterbrained than me and remembered to do this at the time, then you can head straight to Altus Plateau, Site of Grace. If not, if you're a bit scatterbrained like me, or if you just decided to wait on it, then you can come down here, you can get the Ash of War Blood Blade, and then you can continue making your way down here towards the Shaded Castle, though instead of continuing up north and up, we're going to head off to the west, where there's another Stone Sword Key door. And opening this up, we can head on in to the old Altus tunnel. And you can just make your way down, either by staying on the elevator or by taking the side paths down. Either way, it's up to you. And here we have 26 smithing stone 5s. So I'm not going to show the entire cave, just for the sake of time. Though I will show the aftermath. And here, we went from 26 to 34. So there were 8 smithing stone 5s. You also got the Great Club and the Troll's Hammer. So, Strength, Faith, and then Strength, both are colossal weapons. And you also got the Bolt Drake Talisman +1 in here. So, better version of the Bolt Drake Talisman. And that's everything there. So you can head to the Altus Plateau Site of Grace or the Highway Junction. And as you can see, I went with the Highway Junction because we're heading off to the right. And there, as you can see, massive stairs, we're heading to the right of those. And if you started from the Altus Plateau Site of Grace, you could just head onto the main path and then to the right of that and just went forward. Whereas starting from the Junction Site of Grace, we have to do a bit of a U-turn and head back over to this fort with some enemies and a Stone Sword Key. Whether going out of your way to get that is worth it to you is entirely a personal choice. Though Altus Plateau takes a lot of Stone Sword Keys, which is why I went to get it. Though either way, those giant stairs that I pointed out, you want to head to the right of those, where you'll find this path that you can take down. Again, good to kill soldiers as they can drop smithing stones. Though, if you don't care about smithing stones, not much of a point in killing them, but also not much of a point in going up here, as the reason we're going up here is for a boss. And you can probably tell where they're going to be. So, here, by the right side wall, there's this giant pit with a falling star beast. And so, taking them out, you will be granted with 11,000 runes, a Somber Smithing Stone 5, and 5 Smithing Stone 6. And then from there, I run over here to make this jump to get up these stairs faster, as the final place we're going to head in this part is through those doors. There is a double tree sentinel boss. You can fight them if you want. They drop a great shield, which is an okay drop. I'm not going to do it, partially for the sake of time, partially because I don't see it as worth it. At least for the build that I'm creating. Though, yeah, here, the icon shield. We finally remembered it. This, at the bottom line, gradually restores the carrier's HP. And as you can see, it's not as defensive as the other shields that I have, though this is the great shield I typically go with, as it stacks with Blessed Dew Talisman, giving 3 and 2 respectively, for a total of 5 HP per second of passive regeneration. And if you have the equip load, you can do 2, as you can see. I can do 2 here, so you can do that, though I don't see it as worth it. So if you're copying my build, there you go, icon shield, even more survivability. And that's all of the main Altus Plateau. Again, Gilmere is going to get its own video. The Capital Outskirts going to get its own video. And in this part, we got the Troll's Golden Sword. We got the Bloody Hellas. We got the Nagakiba continuing Yura's quest. We got 3 different Twin Blades. We got 2 copies of the Great Stars. We got 2 Colossal Weapons. We got a Light Bow. We got 2 new Great Shields, both of which are quite good in their own way. We also got 4 different builds, or armor sets. In the Battle Mage set, Ruler set, Traveling Noble set, and Omen Killer set. So 4 more armor sets. We got a stronger Bolt Drake Talisman. And there's a Pearl Drake Talisman, though I didn't get that. There's also the Great Shield Talisman. There's Godfrey Icon, Perfumer's Talisman, and a Lightning Scorpion Charm. We also continued Millicent's quest by 2 steps. We also got multiple upgrades to the Flask, both in Golden Seeds and Sacred Tears. We also got a new Physic tier. We got some new cookbooks, especially in the Ancient Dragon variety, which were very good. And we also got some new spells, mostly incantations, especially Wrath of Gold. I cannot overstate how good Wrath of Gold is. Though, in this run, we'll go through every weapon, shield, armor set, talisman, spirit ash, physic tier, and cookbook that you will need no matter what build you're creating. I hope you continue following me through on this so we can prepare for the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC together, and yeah.